In this video, I'm going to show you how to edit video on iPhone from start to finish, including our favorite free and paid iPhone video editing apps, and a ton of simple tips that you can use to create awesome quality videos much faster, just using your smartphone, whether you're a seasoned pro or a complete beginner. Hey, it's Justin Brown here from Primal Video, where we help you grow an audience and scale your revenue with online video. If you're new here, make sure you click that subscribe button. And if you're seeing value in this content, I want you to hit that thumbs up button as well. And all the links to everything we mentioned are in the description box below. Let's jump into it. So iPhones are an awesome tool, not just for shooting your videos, but also for editing them down as well. And there's a growing list of powerful video editing apps for iPhone with a mix of free and paid options that pack in a ton of functionality and tools that were previously only available on desktop-based video editing software. So let's jump straight to the short list of video editing apps that we recommend before we move on to a full walkthrough on how to edit videos no matter which one you choose. So my short list then when it comes to paid video editing apps on iPhone come down to VLLO or VLO, Adobe Premiere Rush, or if you're after the most professional, most advanced video editing app, LumaFusion is where it's at. Now it is worth noting that Adobe Premiere Rush is a monthly subscription to be able to use and access the app, whereas both LumaFusion and VLO are both one-time purchase. Now, if I had to pick a winner or the best all-rounder out of this category, it is going to go to VLO because it really is the best all-rounder when it comes to an app that will work for an absolute beginner right through to someone on the more pro or advanced end of things. So that's the paid apps. Let's look at the short list for the top free video editing apps on iOS. Those are VN Video Editor, InShot, and VLO, the free version, or VLLO. The free version is missing some of those really advanced features, and InShot is really aimed purely at an absolute beginner level. So the best all-rounder in this category of free video editing apps really comes down to VN Video Editor. Again, it's the perfect mix really for an absolute beginner right through to someone at a more advanced level. So overall here, you really can't go wrong with any of those recommendations. But for this walkthrough tutorial, we are going to be using VN Video Editor because we have to choose one, and because it is a good mix from a beginner right through to advanced, and it's also free. But don't worry, no matter what app you're using, the steps that we're going to follow here are going to be pretty much the same. So just follow along with your preferred editing app. And at the end of this video, I'm also going to share with you a link to download our free PDF editing checklist that you can print out and follow along with next time you're editing your videos. Okay, so we're over in VN Video Editor. This is what you'll see when you first open up the app. So to start a new project, you've got to hit the plus button down the bottom and then select new project. Now in here is where you want to select your primary video footage, all of your main video clips. So I'm going to select my primary video here, and then I'm going to hit apply. And once that's done, you'll be taken to the main editing interface. So this big area here, this is your playback or preview area where you can playback and preview your video you're editing. This area down the bottom here, this is where all of your editing magic is going to happen. You've got all of your options and things down the bottom, which we'll run through as we go. But up the top here is where you can set the format and the type of video you're going to be creating. So if we press on this now, it's currently set to original, which is based off our original video file or our video footage that we've brought in here, which was widescreen, or 16:9. You can see it doesn't actually change anything there because it's creating it off the video file that we've imported here. Now, if you want to create a 1:1 or a square version for Instagram, or a 4:5, or a 9:16 for TikTok or for Instagram stories or something like that, you can go through here and select the size or the format of the video you're going to create. Now, for most YouTube videos, you're going to want to select 16:9 to make a widescreen video. Or if your original footage was already 16:9, you can leave it on that as well. Okay, so down the bottom here, if we just tap and swipe across, then you can see we can scrub through or skim through our video footage here. If we want to zoom in or out, we can just pinch to zoom in and out. So if we wanted to quickly jump across to the end of the video, we can now scrub across to that. And if you wanted to zoom back in to get more detail or to more precise with your edits, then you can pinch to zoom back in. Very simple. And again, this stuff is going to apply to most video editing apps out there. Now, one thing to note, if you are following along and using the same VN app as me, you probably want to select this last little black clip, which just says directed by, and you can enter the text here. You're probably going to want to delete this unless you want that there. So you want to select that and just press the delete button down the bottom corner here, and that will be removed. Okay, so let's zoom back out now and go back to the start of our video clip, and we're going to start editing it down. So what you want to do first up with your video footage is just remove any of the bad takes, any of the mistakes, or anything that you 100% don't want in your finished video. Now, as with any video editing app or video editing program, there's a few different ways that you can start trimming down your footage. So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to do it, because sometimes it'll make more sense to use one way over another. So let's say that all of this stuff here at the start of the video is a mistake, was a bad take, and we want to start the video around here somewhere just before I start talking. All we need to do is have this white playback indicator, a playback bar, at the area that we want to add a cut or to start this clip, and we can just press the pair of scissors, split, and we've now cut our video clip at that point. So you can see we've now got a left clip and a right clip. So if we want to remove the left clip, we just make sure that that is selected, and then just press the delete button down the bottom right, and that clip is gone. So now we're just back to one clip. So that's one way we can start to edit our clips down. Now just up here, when I finish this take, you can see I lean forward to adjust the teleprompter. We're going to cut out that section. So we're going to get to right here where I finish that. Again, we're going to press the split to cut our clip at that point, but it will mean on the right side of the clip, we want to start this clip here a little bit later to where I start talking again. Now we could just find that spot and press split and then remove that clip from the middle, just as we have done. That's perfectly fine to do it that way, but I will undo this just to show you one other way. With that clip selected, we can just press trim down the bottom to enter the trim mode. And in here, we can grab those left and right handles, or the big thick sections of that yellow border, and we can just press and hold on that and drag it in until we'd like the clip to start again at that point. So just before I start talking here, I let go of that, and that is where that second clip now is going to start. So we'll press the tick down the bottom to apply that, and now that second clip starts at that point. And likewise, at the end of the clips, exactly the same. We can again use the scissors to cut out any areas that we don't want or any mistakes. So somewhere around here before I start talking again, and then we might jump back into that trim tool, and let's adjust the end point of that clip to bring it in so that it finishes a little earlier. Removing out again where I'm playing with the teleprompter, and then we hit the tick to apply that edit. So the idea here is that you want to go through, remove all of the bad takes, all of the mistakes, just using those tools, the scissors and the trim feature, so that you're just left with the main footage that you want to have in your video. Now, another thing I want to mention is you can actually pick up and move around these clips as well. So let's say that we actually want to use this clip on screen now as the ending for our video. We can press and hold on it, and we can just then swap it with the one at the end, or pick it up and move it to the end. And likewise, if we have one of these we want to swap out for the intro, we can press and hold on it, and we can move these clips around just as chunks of footage. So now that you have your primary video footage edited down, next up you want to add in any B-roll or overlay footage to be shown on top of your primary content. So for that, all we need to do is to come up here where it says tap to add sticker/PIP, picture in picture. So we'll press on the plus button here, and we'll go and find the clips that we want to use. So I'll pick this one here of the switch pod. And you can see now that that clip is now sitting on top of our video layer. Now up on the top screen here, we can actually adjust the size of this. So if you only want it as a small little clip in the bottom corner or something, then you can pick it up and move it down there. Or you can move it back to the center and you can scale it up so that it's full screen and that it's actually fitting over the top of your primary video content. So as we scrub through now, we've got my face on screen, and then at that point, then we have the switch pod being shown. Now, just like any other piece of footage, we can press on it and swipe to the left and right to pick it up and move it around. And you can also see on the left and right hand side, you've also got the little handles here to let you adjust the start and the end time of this clip. So let's scrub through this and see what happens in this piece of B-roll. We've got Caleb that's putting down the switch pod. I don't think I was quick enough, so I asked him to do it again, and then we go again for a take two. So we're only going to want this second piece of it. So we could just hit the scissors at this point, and that's going to split our B-roll into two chunks. Let's press the delete here to remove that first chunk. And so our second piece of footage here now is he's flicking it open, placing it down, and then we have a little pan around it. And we'll stop this clip right before his arm comes in to pick it up, probably around there. Again, we'll press the split Select the second part and remove it, and we now have this piece of B-roll or of overlay footage that we can then position in our timeline wherever we want that shown. So maybe we'll scoot it back across here, somewhere around here. So in this step, you want to go through and add in any of your additional footage, any of your B-roll or overlay footage, and add it into your timeline or into your project. So I'll go through and add in another clip now, and we will scale this one up so that it fits full screen. And let's find the best part of this next shot. We start it around here. Let's cut it at that point. Remove the start. And it's a slow zoom in on the switch pod. And when it stops, we'll stop our shot at that point. So I'll just grab that end of the clip and drag it back to where we want that to finish. And our clip now stops at that point. Let's just pick it up, move it across so that it's next to our other one. And we now have two pieces of B-roll or overlay footage in our edit here. So it plays one, then goes through the other, and then back to me talking. So you want to go through now and add in all of your B-roll or overlay footage. So the next step then is going through and adding in any transitions or effects that you want to have in your video. So a transition will go between two clips in your timeline, and it's some sort of effect that you could apply between the two. So it's more of a seamless thing instead of just a hard cut from one clip to another. So to add a transition, you just want to hit the plus button between two clips, and then you've got a few different ones in here that you can add. So you've got options like a dip to black, where it's gone faded out to black, then back in. There's also a dip to white, which can look like a camera flash if you actually speed this up. So if we shorten the duration down here, it's a much faster little flash. So if we go apply on that now by hitting the tick, when we play this through, there's just a little flash before it gets to the next one. Now I'm gonna hit undo on this because I wouldn't normally add a transition where both the clips are pretty much the same angle, same shot. I would normally use them very sparingly, but normally on different shots. But instead what I would do, and what we do in our YouTube videos, is on the second shot, is to zoom in on it to change it up and make it look a little bit different. So let's select this second shot in here now, and then down the bottom we're gonna go across to crop. Now in here is where we get to adjust the framing of our shot. Then we can just pinch to zoom up in the top here, and you can see that we're zooming in a little bit on the shot. Now you don't want to go too much here, and depending on the quality of the video that you're creating and how it was shot, you might actually lose a little bit of quality here, so you don't want to zoom in too much or do this too much. But you just want to zoom in a little bit so that the shot looks a little bit different. And it breaks it up enough so that it's not distracting for your viewers. So let's give this a go. We'll hit the tick to see what this looks like. And let's play the first shot here, and then it'll kick over into the next shot. So you can see it's just a subtle zoom in on the shot here that just breaks it up for the viewers. Now there's another feature I want to show you in this app, which is pretty cool, is if we select this next clip here in the timeline, and let's go across to zoom. There are actually presets in here that you can apply to that clip. So let's go zoom in. And you can see that it automatically applies a really slow zoom in just for that individual clip. Or there might be a zoom out. You can see it's very slowly zooming out. Creates a really professional look for your videos. And if we scroll across, you've even got things like a move left or a move right. So it's pretty cool that you've got these effects that you can apply so simply in this app. Now I'm going to cancel out of this one now. So you want to go through in this step, add in any of your transitions or any of your effects, or zoom in to break up some of your shots. Then next up, you want to add in any titles or text to your videos. So if we come up here to this T and press on that, then there's some presets here that we can use in our video. So I'm just going to go this one and just start typing in my name, Justin Brown. Now if you want to scale this up or move it around, we can again just use those controls on screen to scale it up or down, or we can pick it up and say move it down this bottom left hand corner here. Something like this. If we want to change up the fonts, then we can come across to the big A and the little a here, and we can select that. Likewise with the font down the bottom, we can make it bigger or smaller down there. Let's leave it around there somewhere. Then we can change up the colors. If we come across to that area, there are some presets here that you can use across the top, or you can create your own and save them as a preset as well. Let's go the black with the white text, but then we'll change the background color to be a light Primal video blue, and that's looking pretty good. So we can just hit the tick, and we now have that title on screen. So if we're playing through, then our title appears at that point and goes off at the end of it. And again, just like all of our other titles, if we zoom in, we can slide it across to where we want it, so closer to the start of the video, and we can adjust using those arrows how long we actually want to have it on screen for, so maybe down around 5 seconds. So you want to go ahead now and add in any titles or text into your video. Once you get those in, the next step is to add in any music into your videos. So you want to come up here to music and then come down to music. Now I've got these tabs at the top, my music, and it's showing you any music files you've already got on your device. You've also got their own for vlog, pop, and dynamic. But I'm going to go back across to my music to this amber track and press choose. So this is one that we actually have the rights to use in our videos. And if you're interested, we get our music from Epidemic Sound and from Artlist, and I will have links to those in the description. So here we get to set the volume levels already before we're bringing it into the project. So I'm just going to leave that at 100% for now and hit the tick to add that into our timeline. And again, we can select it and we can move it across to where we want it to start. So I'll have it start at the start of this video. And then you just want to come across to the end of your video and just make sure that your music track finishes at the end of your video. And likewise, if you want to make any edits to your audio, then you've got those same tools up here to split your clips and to adjust them here as well. I'll just undo that one now. And so now that you've got your music tracks in or any audio files in, next we're going to look at adjusting our volume levels. So where I'd suggest you start with this first is by getting the audio levels correct on any spoken pieces or any voiceovers, or in our case here, our primary footage. We want to get the volume levels right on that first, and then we'll adjust the music as a secondary. So let's come back over here and select the first clip in our timeline and come down the bottom to volume. And in here, we can actually do this all in the one place. So let's mute the volume for now by either dragging this all the way down to 0, and then we're just playing through and listening to our clip here, and we are adjusting our volume levels to get it to where we want it. Now for this, I would suggest that you are wearing headphones so that you're able to get the volume levels to the correct level for your footage. So if it sounds good at 100, then you want to leave it there. If it is too loud and sounds like it's distorting, then you could lower it down a little bit. So let's leave this one here at 100. And then we can bring back up our volume level for our music until it's at the right level for what we're after. Now, the volume levels, this is a creative thing. There's no right or wrong with setting your volume levels, but I will say that you want to make sure that your music is not too loud, that it's distracting and overpowering. And it's also going to come down to how loud the actual music track is that you are using for your video. So in this case here, let's go down to around 18, 19, somewhere around here. Now we can either apply this just to our first clip in the timeline by pressing the tick down the bottom right hand corner, or if we go apply to all, this is going to apply to all music tracks and all of our video clips in here. So let's go apply to all. And now we've just set our volume levels across all of the clips in our project. Once you've adjusted all your volume levels, it's now time to look at any color grading or color correction for your video. So let's come back across to the first clip here, and let's go down the bottom to filter. Now in here, there are a ton of different filters in here. Think of these like Instagram filters to make your video look a certain way. You can either use any of these if they are the perfect fit for what you're after, or you can select one that's close to the look that you're after, and then you can come across to adjust, and you can make further adjustments to this. Now, if you just want to start from scratch, then you want to come back to filter, go back to original, so you're not working on any filters, and then come into adjust, and this is where you can make the adjustments to the look and feel of your shot. So where I would suggest you start with this is over here at your color temperature to adjust the white balance of your shot. So you can see as we increase that, we're adding more warmth to the shot, and as we decrease it, we're adding more blue. We're making our shot look cooler with more blues. So we'll probably add a little bit of warmth to it here. After that, I'd come across here to the brightness, and I would adjust the brightness levels up or down depending on the shot. From there, I'd come across to the far left here to adjust the blacks or the dark areas of the shot, so we can darken down or brighten up those dark areas. And then I move across to the next one here, which is your saturation, so the amount of colors. So as we increase this one, you can see we're boosting the colors quite a lot. I look like a tomato. Or if we lower it, we're taking all the colors out. I can go black and white. So maybe we just increase these a little bit, somewhere around here. You can also add a vignette or a fade around the edge with this one. So maybe we'll add that on just a little bit. And the last one here is your sharpness. So if you do want to add a little bit more detail into your shot, then you can increase this just a little bit here. make it look a little bit crispier. And again, if you want to apply this to just this one clip, then you can hit the tick down the bottom right hand corner, or you can apply it to all of your footage so it has a consistent look, just pressing apply to all. And then all of your clips now have that same look applied to them. So once you've got your video looking and sounding the way that you'd like it, now it's time to export it or to save it out. So you want to come up to the top right hand corner and press export. And this is where you can set your export quality and file settings for the video you're going to save out. So if you have any specific requirements, you can enter those in here. So for example, we might want a 1080p video at 24 frames per second. But what I do normally adjust is this bitrate down the bottom here. Now, the higher the bitrate, the better the quality, but also larger the file is going to be for your video. So if I want the best quality video out of this, then I'm going to push this up to high, or as far as it will go, and that's going to give me that. But what you'll probably find for most people here, the default is going to be good enough. Once you're happy with that, you just hit the tick down the bottom, and once that's done, your video is finished. And it's then saved on your phone for you to use it or to upload it in any other app or program. So that is a complete video editing walkthrough using VN Video Editor. Now earlier I mentioned our free PDF editing guide or editing checklist. You can use the link on screen now to download your free copy and use it while you're editing your next masterpieces. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.